Welcome to the Books Bible Study, where we will be reading the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Today's chapter is Genesis chapter 20. Please make sure you have your writing utensils ready wherever you take notes at. We are going to start diving in. We're almost done with Genesis, so if you haven't read 1 through 19, please go back so that you can catch up. Genesis chapter 20, verse 1. And Abraham journeyed from there to the south and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur and stayed in Gerar. Verse 2. Now Abraham said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. So here we are in Gerar, where another king, a Philistine, King Abimelech, wants Sarah as well. So 20 years ago in Egypt, Pharaoh saw her beauty and desired her there, right? Do you remember what happened to Pharaoh's house, right? His whole house was plagued and he could not touch her. Why do you think Abraham continues to refer to her as his sister? Do you think that it's a lack of faith? Maybe he doesn't believe he'll be protected, right? If they knew that she was his wife. Sarah is 90 at this point, right? So what is Abimelech's interest in her? She's well past childbearing. She does have a promised son, but I don't think Abimelech knows that. Like, why did he decide to take her? Verse 3. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "Indeed, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife." So, what's the lesson? It is what kills a man, right? Taking another man's wife. Okay, so find out, fellas, if the lady that you're trying to take is another man's wife. It's a joke, but it's true. Okay, verse 4. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, "Lord, will you slay a righteous nation also?" Verse 5. Did he not say to me, "She is my sister"? And she, even she herself, said, "He is my brother." In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands, I have done this. Verse 6. And God said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her." Okay, so it was divine restraint that kept King Abimelech from touching Sarah. And I'm assuming at this point there was still something about her that had these kings wanting her. Okay, verse 7. Now therefore, this is God speaking to King Abimelech. Now therefore, restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours. So Abimelech could have gotten his entire family killed if he would have made the wrong decision, right? That's why it's important who your king is. And Abimelech needs Abraham's intercession, right? And he also needed to restore Sarah to remove that death penalty. Okay, verse 8. So Abimelech rose early in the morning, called all his servants, and told all these things in their hearing, and the men were very much afraid. Verse 9. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I offended you that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done these to me that ought not to be done." Verse 10. Then Abimelech said to Abraham, "What do you have in view that you have done this thing?" Verse 11. And Abraham said, "Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will kill me on account of my wife." So Abraham, we see, felt that they would kill him because they did not fear God in Gerar. Okay. Verse 12. He says, "But indeed she is truly my sister." She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. So it wasn't a complete lie, right? But it also was half truth or partial truth, right? She was his, what we would call in today's terms, his stepsister. Okay, verse 13. And it came to pass when God caused me to wander from my father's house that I said to her, this is your kindness that you should do for me. In every place, wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother. Okay, verse 14. Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female servants and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah, his wife, to him. Okay. So Abraham is leaving with more gifts. Okay, so I do think it's true that a wife does bring favor from the Lord and from kings, because this is the second time a king has uh, made him skedaddle, but also sent a bunch of stuff with him, right? Verse 15. And Abimelech said, see, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you. So he now lets them also live wherever they want to live in his kingdom. Verse 16. Then to Sarah he said, behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this vindicates you before all who are with you and before everybody. Thus she was rebuked. Okay, so rebuke doesn't just mean being corrected by exposing what is wrong, right? The other part of rebuke is also establishing what is right. So in this sense, he is establishing what is right due to the dishonor, even though it was unknowing to him, right? Verse 17. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants. Then they bore children. For the Lord had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Okay, so I see a solution here. So when I read the Bible, I'm looking for answers to problems that we have now, right? So I see a solution here. A barren or an afflicted house can be restored, right? And like I said, the Bible will teach you how to pray. Can you see in this aspect why forgiveness is important? You may need that person to pray for you, to intercede for you, to pray you out of the situation that is due to you because of the dishonor that they have received, right? God did not allow him to touch Sarah. I also think this has to do with the promised seed, right? There could not be another male to impregnate her. So we see that God restrained them from touching her. And then also, Abraham had to pray for Abimelech's house to be restored. So we see the prayer of faith with Abraham also working in the Old Testament. So Abraham's weakness or lack of belief that he could be protected caused him to hide the fact that Sarah was really his wife, right? But his weakness did not nullify God's faithfulness, right? God's purpose. It did not cancel that out. Just like your weakness, when you give it to God, right? It allows him to be faithful to you, right? And to bring those things to pass. It gives him the opportunity to be God, right? And so that concludes this chapter, chapter 20. And so we want to think about that. The things that are maybe unintentional that we have done. If you know about it, and instead of constantly saying that wasn't my intention, if it did in fact afflict someone, then forgiveness is needed, right? And so we don't want to be so focused on like, I didn't do anything. Well, there needs to be an understanding, there needs to be forgiveness, there needs to definitely be prayer as well. And don't take other people's wives or husbands, right? I mean, we kind of see this playing out now in real time, that there's a price for that now. There's like laws about that now. So this was written thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. So, and you also see the consequence of that is barrenness. Okay. So I don't know if when it happened with Pharaoh, it just said they were plagued. I don't know what their affliction was, but for King Abimelech, their their consequence was barrenness for his entire household, servants as well. Okay, so we will come back with Genesis chapter 21. God bless.